Hello, hello. Welcome to Melissa's Crafting Treehouse. My name is Melissa Kerman and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Have been demonstrator for 18 years. So welcome to Melissa's Crafting Treehouse and my paper crafting project for tonight. I am going on about an hour early than I usually do. Usually I'm on at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but tonight is a special night because there is a Stampin' Up! Event that lots of demonstrators are going to be participating in. So I wanted to go on early so I could do both, right? So why not have some crafting fun and then share some fun with this Stampin' Up! Event. So I have a bunch of different things for you tonight. Hi, Pam. And including two projects, one fun fold and another project using the Stamparatus, which is always really fun to play with. And then I got some announcements. I've got a giveaway to announce from 2 weeks ago. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's what we got covered to do today. So I also have did I say I'm going to announce a winner from last week? Did I say that from 2 weeks ago? Hi, Sharon. Good to see you here. Let's see. I know I'm missing names. So welcome everybody wherever you're coming from, whether it's live or on the replay. I'm so glad that you're here. All right, so let's just dive in. So today's project is made with the Eden's Garden collection. And yes, I did feature that 2 weeks ago. It's the hot new thing. The stamp set and the dies are going to be in the January to June mini catalog coming up in 2022. But the consumable products that are part of the collection are only available on a limited basis, so while supplies last. So I really want to use them and show them and make sure that you guys, if you love them, you get them before they're gone. So, and I have enjoyed so much playing with the Eden's Garden collection. So got more fun things to show. Alrighty, so now I guess we'll just start with letting you guys know that I am doing the Eden's Garden Stamp Camp to go. The deadline is tomorrow. So, oh, you love Eden's Garden, Charlotte? Wonderful. So glad to catch a little comment here and there. Hi, Jolene. Yes, tomorrow is the deadline. You can buy that Stamp Camp to go either with the kit, which includes some Stampin' Up! Products, and pre-cut cardstock and kits to make 12 projects, or you can buy just the PDF version of the Stamp Camp. So if you do the PDF, it's an instant download. Literally, you pay and you get it in the email confirmation. So it's super quick and fun to be able to get it right away. So, oh yay, Shelly, you just ordered the download. Wonderful. Now my team members also get the download for half price, so the regular price for the PDF only is $20. Team members get it for $10. So it's a great deal, of course, with what's going into this PDF because it's a lot. All right. So 2 weeks ago I did some projects, again featuring the Eden's Garden suite, and one of them I forgot to put together. I had so much to share. It was a long one. That I did not manage to put it together and show you guys, and I had asked you guys about your opinions about different ribbon that I should use. So I wanted to show you the final product, and this was the one that had the piece fussy cut on top, so it has those dies. And anyway, so I decided to probably, I'm not sure if I did something different from what I showed in the video that I was playing with, but I colored some of this ribbon here, which starts as white, and then I put some of the Evening Evergreen open weave ribbon underneath it. So that's my finished product. So it is on my website, so you can check it out there. Now the drawing that I did last time, the winner is going to get a little sampler of one each of 4x6 pieces of the evening of the, what is it called? Ever Eden Designer Series paper. This is one of the consumable products that's available on a limited time basis. And just a quick little flash of this paper. I am going to be using it on the product tonight, just a couple pieces. So let's see, you got one each of all the patterns. They're just gorgeous, stunning patterns. Back side as well, the B side. And then you get to try out a little bit of the cotton paper. So fun little gift. And then the winner is also going to get one of my fall theme cards that I put together during the 2 weeks ago, the event 2 weeks ago. I also showed some fun things with the cotton paper 2 weeks ago. I'm not doing anything with the cotton paper today, but if you're curious about the cotton paper, go check out the video from 2 weeks ago featuring those cards that I just showed. So, you guys ready for the winner? I don't know if I've seen her name here flash by, but I haven't been paying that close attention to the names, just distracted, right? Talking and letting you guys know things. So anyway, the winner is, drumroll please, Karen Kush. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, so Karen, I apologize if I'm saying it wrong. Karen, I know that's backwards, you can read it though. I don't have your address, so if you are here and you hear this announcement, make sure to message me with your address so I can mail you that little designer paper sampler and the card that you won. So, yes, yay, Karen. All right, let's see. Oh, Linda, you love the designer paper? Yes. Oh, it's so pretty. And I just have to tell you, okay, hold on. When I turn the camera down, I'm going to show you. I have used like, oh my gosh, like 95% of the designer series paper of a whole pack. Okay, so this is a little hint. I used most of it for a project that I did for my team for our onstage after party. Okay, so that's a little hint to my team because they've got the kits, but they don't know what they're making. So anyway, those people that are attending on stage with me from my Treehouse Chicks team. I'll show you what I have left in just a little bit. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, so there's a starter kit special going on this month only. It's an amazing deal on the starter kit. So normally it's $99. You pay for the starter kit, you get $125 in product. Now it's only $75. Is that amazing? It's like a crazy good deal. And I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of some information. Hopefully it's not too early and I'm not supposed to not do this. I think it's okay. There's a seasonal sale coming up next week. So it's between the 16th and 18th. I'm not going to tell you much about it, but I will tell you that if you're considering buying the starter kit, doing it during the seasonal sale is going to give you even more benefits. You're going to get the starter kit for $75, and if you choose some things on discount, you're going to get those items as well. So it's just a crazy, amazing deal. So stacking on the benefits, and then of course you get 20% discount for the period as long as you're a demonstrator, as long as you stay active, and that's a minimum a kit discount, so you can get more based upon your sales. So anyway, consider the starter kit. Check out the seasonal sale coming next week. Of course, it will be in my newsletter, and consider stacking on those benefits and getting the starter kit in combination. All right, so let's see, what else? I have a hashtag tonight, but it's not for a prize, okay? So I am thinking about 2 different projects. I'm trying to plan more ahead of time, okay? So I have 2 different projects in mind, so I want you to vote. So it's either going to be hashtag welcoming woods. I did not write this down. Hashtag welcoming woods. Or, and that's a project that I've used this stamp set with. Okay, so I love this stamp set and I have a project that I want to share. So that's going to possibly be my next project. Or hashtag sweet stockings. Here, this is the name of the sweet. It's backwards, but you get it. Sweet stockings. So I have a project that's made with this designer paper, and I have a project that's made with Welcoming Woods. Take a vote. Vote. Let me know. You have the whole time that I'm presenting today to comment and let me know. So hashtag sweet stockings, hashtag Welcoming Woods, and I'll just go with what you guys vote for. So that's kind of fun. Helping me decide and picking what you see. All right, so let's go ahead and turn the camera down and get started with our project for today. All right. I see 2 welcoming woods. Haven't noticed anything else yet. So now I will tell you that the Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle for November is based upon sweet stockings. And so if I use that, it would be my project for that tutorial bundle. I don't have the stamp set, I just have the designer paper. So my project features the designer paper. All right. Oh, you want both of them, Kimmy? She's like, okay, let's do both. Well, I am doing 2 projects today, but I don't know if I'll be able to do those 2 on the same night. Anyway, we'll see what's most popular. I see a little bit of each. flashing across the screen. Okay, so the project for today. So the first one is a fun fold. And this is my project. It uses some stamping and some of the Designer Series paper. So I'm just going to open it, show you what the fun fold is. So it opens like this and then like that, right? So it's just a little bit different, kind of fun fold. And I'm going to show you sort of how to create this little bit of this articulation here that allows it to open and close in this fun way. I crack you up? Kimmy cracks me up, saying she wants both. But I'm glad I make you laugh. That's a good thing. All right, so this is what we're making today. And I'm going to share some tricks about how I did it. And then the second project is actually featuring the Stamparatus, but we'll get to that in just a bit. So what we're going to start with is some stamping and have everything set up, and there it is. Oh, so I have to show you first, okay, just a little bit. So this is the ribbon that comes if you buy the Eden's Garden Stamp Camp kit. You also get a pack of the Eden's Garden Designer Series paper. I guess it's called Ever Eden Designer Series paper. And one full sheet of the 2 different colors of cotton paper. This is all I have left. So you guys on my team, we used most of it on the project that I sent you in the mail. Like almost nothing left. In fact, I didn't even have enough to finish to make mine that I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to have to figure out some creative way because I used all of it. Anyway, it's wonderful paper, so I hope you guys love it. And this is the Eden's Garden stamp set. I'm not using the dies today, but I am using some of these Tasteful Labels dies, these 2 right here. And then we'll also be using these lovely garden gems, which are part of the collection as well. Okay, let's start with our stamping first. And to some extent, I'm kind of making a little bit, oops, jeez, throwing my stamps around. We're making a bit of our own Designer Series paper here. So I'm starting with my soft succulent. I'm going to use the biggest image in the set. Let me get my lighting a little bit better here, minus the glare. Okay, so we're just going to do 3 of these babies. This is a distinctive set, so the images are very detailed and kind of on the light side. I like to start with my biggest image, and I am using my lightest color in the biggest image because it's going to stand out the most, so I'm trying to make sure it doesn't overpower everything. And now I've got my Evening Evergreen, and I'm going to do that in this image here. And I'm going to just be kind of tucking them in to make them sort of fit in between the other images that I've put in here. And each one's going to turn out a little bit different. I did just ink this, and I also like to make sure that I'm turning my stamps in a different direction each time. Just kind of gives it a little bit of an organic look, which I like. And of course, going off the page as well. So next up is Pear Pizzazz. I love green. Does anybody else love green? And I love combining different greens. Just, you know, so fun. Okay. So now, I'm just going to throw some of these in here. And I like to kind of find the spot where it's going to kind of fill in the gap. And I've got one other image that I'm going to use. So I want to make sure to leave room for that one. I'll set that aside. And next I'm doing my garden green. Patricia, I see you love green too. Oh yay, people are remembering to do the hashtag. I see, Karen, you did a hashtag, wonderful. Okay. Oh my goodness, something caught in my throat. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I'm doing garden green, which is a nice kind of cheerful, bright green kind of. Well, I don't know, I did it and then it doesn't look cheerful and bright, but I do like it. Okay, turning them a different way each time. Some of this is going to get covered up by our sentiment, but I'm just going to try to fill it out so that when I do my next step, I've got good coverage. So again, just kind of making my own Designer Series paper here. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my scoring. So my card base, because this is a fun fold, the piece here measures, this will be on my blog, but remembering right, 5.5 by 7 3/8. Hi Heather, good to see you here. With practice, it is easy, but I do make mistakes too, and you know, and it's a great opportunity for learning. I do it regularly, but I hide most of them when I go live. But that does happen, I promise you. All right, so I'm going to do my scoring here, and it's going to be, I've got my little thingy there, whatever that is, my guide, at 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to start with just doing a score line at 5/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to do at 3/4 of an inch, which is the next eighth, and 7/8 of an inch. So that's just 3 score lines in there. That's going to be my articulation element, and then I'm going to do 4 1/4. So the card is going to be 4 1/4 wide, and this is just the smaller flap that goes over the front. So super easy. So that's just going to fold over, and just like my original card, there you go. Just going to grab my bone folder, make that crease nice and well creased. Okay, next up, now this piece, and this is where some of the trick comes in. And this is actually how I made this card initially, although it was not intentional, but it is kind of a nice way to do it. So I'm cutting down my piece so that I'm going to end up with 3 pieces. One that's going to be the main focal piece on the card, another little strip that will be along the right-hand side, and then the last strip I'm going to use on the inside. So when I made this, I stamped all over a piece, and then I decided to make this fun fold, so I cut it down. But the nice thing is then it ends up being sort of continuous. Now the only thing is, the piece that I need, the biggest piece is 2 7/8, but I do not want to cut that first, because if I do, I'm going to have this tiny little narrow piece that I have to cut in half, which is hard to do. So this piece measures 3 7/8 wide, so I want to cut off 2 strips that are half. Okay, so 3 so it's 3 7/8 inch wide. So I want to come down 1, 2, 3. It's 4 of the larger lines, and it brings me to 4 3/8. So 4 7/8 minus a half is 4 3/8. I'm saying it out loud a couple times, so I make sure that I'm remembering it right and doing it right? So I'm just going to trim off that first half same way so I don't get confused, because I kind of want the images to line up. And then I'm going to take off another half inch. So I'm at 3 3/8, and so I'm just going to go 1/8 less than 3, which is 2 7/8. So I'm basically taking off an inch altogether. It started at 3 7/8, it's going to end at 2 7/8, and the piece I need, the large piece, is 2 7/8. So that's what I get left with. Just makes it a lot easier to cut those thin pieces accurately, to do it the way that I just described. Oh, Pauline, you thought of me when you saw the release of the suite? You knew I would love it, right? I'm a foliage girl, foliage lover. Okay, so now the other thing I'm going to do is one of these pieces, I'm only going to use a small section of it for the inside. So I'm going to choose which one I want. And when I did this last time, it's going to kind of look continuous anyway. There's a gap in the middle. I decided which one would look better, you know, on the side based on what's showing. So on the side, it's going to be a little bit of the top and the bottom. And on the inside, you're only using part of it, right? But you want it to be pretty. So which one would I cut down? I'd probably cut right here. I think that makes the most sense. But I'm going to go ahead and take these and set them aside, because I have one that I finished to make this go a little bit faster. So there are my pieces, and in this case I cut down that middle piece to be my inside piece, and I chose this section. So let's go ahead and put this together. So I'm using my silicone craft mat, which works really well when you have adhesive on your pieces already. That's just going to go right there, centered on that main panel. And then I've got my full length strip, and again I've got them oriented so it's gonna look kind of continuous. They measure 5 1/4 tall. I love this fun fold. I just think it's really simple. You can see the little articulation there with the score lines, helps it fold just really easily. Now I've taken a piece of this white ribbon. This is the ribbon that is part of the combination pack that comes with the Eden's Gardens class. And this ribbon is just so pretty and pliable. And I've just taken some adhesive and literally put it onto the back of it. So you can see it's stuck on there. You can actually take your tape runner and just run it down your adhesive, especially with a ribbon that's thick like this, or wide like this, I should say. If you use glue dots, sometimes you can see the little dot on there. So it's nice to have the adhesive covering the whole thing. So I'm just closing this up and I'm just tucking my ribbon over the articulation. You're going to see the score lines on the bottom, but I just thought this would be a nice little added element to have the ribbon there. And then I'm just going to fold it on the back. Just kind of a different little fun look to have the ribbon on the back. Probably should put a little more adhesive on there. So covers it up. There we go. There we go. Just like that. Okay. So now I've got a white piece for the inside. This measures 2 7/8, just like the front piece. And I've got my 2 pieces here. This one measures 2 7/8, so it's going to go, how did I do it? Did I leave space? I left a tiny little space at the bottom, but you could do it butt up against the bottom if you wanted as well. And we'll decide on which way we want it to face. I guess that's good. So the only thing I'm wasting is that little tiny piece. So like I said, keep in mind, this is how I ended up creating this card initially, even though it wasn't intentional. But it's nice to have that continuous pattern and to be doing all the stamping all at once and not to be stamping on a tiny little itty bitty piece. So now I've got my inside. Now let's work on the sentiment piece. So for this version, because I didn't have any more of this designer series paper, I think this is my favorite designer series paper in the pack. It's got the gold elements, and it's got a lot of the evening evergreen. It's just so pretty. So anyway, I'm going to use this one instead because that's what I have left. Just going to get attached to that front piece. I have stamped the Sending Hugs, which is part of that stamp set. It's actually, you know, how can you go wrong with using that sentiment? I love Sending Hugs. I'm just a hugger. So it works perfectly for me. Now for the back side of this piece, we're going to use a little bit of a foam adhesive sheet. And actually, let's set that aside for just a minute. And I have one other thing that I know. Oh, there we go. Sitting right here next to me. We're going to work on this little piece here. This, again, is from the Tasteful, what was it called? Tasteful Label Dies. I love these. And the 2 that I'm using today are my favorite shapes. Now, this one has a tiny little bit of a score line. You can't see it so much because it's under where I added ink. And then, of course, that one has the stitching, which is lovely. All right, so the card base on this one is soft seafoam. I have not used soft seafoam anywhere else. But for whatever reason, I just really liked it with the color combination, and I didn't feel like I needed the ink in there. But I did want to tie it together some. So I used this soft seafoam ink on the edges of this piece. So that's what we're going to do now. I always like to do the inking starting with the most ink off the paper, just so that I don't end up with some streaky, dark mess. So a lot of it is getting onto the paper, but that's okay. The most important thing is how does it show up on this piece that I'm working with here. And by going over the edge and sort of blending towards the center, it ends up being darker on the edge and lighter towards the center, kind of fading in. I'm actually getting a really cool look there. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, looks really pretty. Almost streaks from the stitching. It's very interesting. Never noticed that before, but it looks really pretty. All right, so now for this piece, I put dimensionals on the back side. So we'll do that. I was thinking about adding the dimensionals beforehand, but it's much nicer to have the paper flat on the ground, flat on the work surface when you're adding the color with the blending brush. So that is why I didn't do it. Let's see. I'm missing my little tiny itty bitty garbage pail, which I really like to put my dimensional backings in it. I'm telling you, ever since I've started using my little itty bitty garbage pail for my dimensional backings, I don't see nearly as many dimensional backings all over my house. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to see them all over my house in general. Okay, this piece has adhesive on the back side, so I'm just going to place that flat on there. And you can see how the soft seafoam ink just kind of is a frame, and it's going to kind of tie in with that backing there. All right, so almost done. Now for this piece here, it's only going to attach on this side, and I like it to be popped up, so I'm turning it over and I'm going to put some adhesive on this side, and I'm going to use my little hunk of a foam adhesive sheet there. And that should be, now I just want to make sure that it's really just attached to that piece. So let's see how that goes. So there we go, just like that. So this essentially holds it shut and sort of serves as a little bit of a latch, like that. Pretty cool, huh? So there's the other one. Now I do have my gems, which are here somewhere on my table. There, right in front of me. These gems. So I think these are so pretty, and I really liked them along the side here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few of those as well. Just a nice little blingy accent for the side. Just like that. There we go. So there am I finished. Whoa, I just missed the comment. The soft seafoam looks like a background something. Darn it, can I see it? Can I pull it down? Oh, yes, I can. Pauline, you say, the soft seafoam piece looks like a lighted background. Neat effect. Oh, cool. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad you like it. So yeah, just slightly different versions of the same thing. Anyway, yeah, I think they're pretty. I hope you guys like them. Okay, so let's look at the next project I had in mind. Now, I love playing with the Stamparatus. It's a super fun tool, and this stamp set itself just really lends itself to what I'm going to show you. So, try not to spoil too much of the secret here. Okay, so I'm bringing in my Stamparatus, and I'm going to show you. And I haven't even finished assembling this other card, because I was actually finishing designing it earlier today. Just going to put aside the things I'm not using. And all I need for this one is my soft seafoam. No, I need my Pear Pizzazz and my evening evergreen. All right, and I do need to clean one of my images that I'm going to use. So comment if you have created a wreath using the Stamparatus, because that is what we're going to do for this project. And I'm also going to show you how to sort of replicate a wreath that you've created. I know for me, a lot of times when I'm working with the Stamparatus, I will not want to take an image off because I have it just in the right place and I don't want to mess with it. So I found sort of a way to easily replicate a given thing that I've done. So I'm just going to show you that. Okay, so to start with, you have the option of purchasing these lovely grid sheets from Stampin' Up! And they're really pretty important for this particular thing. So I've taken one of these and I've created myself a little bit of a template. So you can see here. Now I cut myself some squares, 5 by 5, 4 by 4. I don't even know what size this is. You can do any size you want. But it just makes it super easy to create these templates, depending on the size that you want of the end product. So I've done 5 by 5 here, the 4 by 4, and what I'm going to be working with today is actually even smaller. But as long as you see the pencil marks there? I've made other pencil marks. As long as you center it on one of the shapes, you're good to go. So what I'm doing here, and actually I asked the question if anybody had created a wreath with this, and then I didn't pay attention if anybody answered. I gotta look back and see. See. Okay, not yet. Okay, well, so that's the question. So now I created several different wreaths, and I was playing around, so I'm just going to show you a few of them that I've done with different color combinations. So here's one, and there's another one, each a little bit different, and then this is the one that I kind of liked the most, so I'm going to replicate this one. A little bit simpler, only 2 images instead of on these ones 3. So 3 colors on each of these and 2 on these. So I'm going to, and these are kind of big, right? So these are actually, what did I do this one for? This was 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So it doesn't give you a lot of room for a backing on a standard size card. I didn't write the dimensions on this one. This one is, it's just a tiny bit smaller. So maybe it's 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Anyway, so I played with that a bunch and I was trying to find a size that would fit better on the front of a card. So I settled on this one, which is 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. I'm actually going to do one that's slightly smaller, 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. So I'm going to bring this in, and as you can see, I don't have a 3 1/2 inch mark, right? But I see the dark black around the edge, and I'm just going to center it right on that, on the square. Now, I'm going to be using 2 different images. This one right here, and, no, is that the one I used? Oh no, that's not the one I used. I have to clean this one. I cleaned the wrong one. Do that super quick. Now, I do want to make sure it's perfectly clean, right? If there's any residue, I'm going to cause a problem for myself. So that one looks clean now. Okay, so don't need the block anymore. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this one, put it down in my square. It's not the same size, but it's okay. And on this one, I actually want to make the wreath a little bit smaller because I'm going to be using a slightly smaller piece of paper. Does thinking about creating a wreath count? Sure, of course. It all counts. Anything that makes you happy counts. That's what I say. Okay, so all I'm going to do is take this image, which is clean. Make sure it's clean, especially if you're going over something that you like. And I could put it right over the top, okay? And then just press it down and lift it up. Now I want to make my wreath a little bit smaller, so I'm going to bring it down just a tiny bit, which is going to bring the size of it down just a bit. So I'm trying to create a wreath so that the shapes are close to the edge, but not exactly on the edge. Okay, now, image number 2. I'm going to place that right on this spot, and I'm going to bring it down. Now I might have to adjust this a little bit after I stamp the first image, but we're going to start with that and see how it goes. Okay, now I could have done the same thing with this, with any one of the images, the 3 images that I've used on this one, to line them up and get something similar to what I've already done. So that's just a nice little, nifty little trick. Hopefully it's useful to somebody. Now, I'm just grabbing a tiny little bit of adhesive off camera so that this has a little bit of tackiness on it, and will hold on to my paper. Okay, now I'm using Pear Pizzazz. Take my stamp set and put it under my little plastic piece. And it's really nice if you have Stampin' Spots for this, because I'm probably going to get ink on here, but you know, I'll be careful. So I'm going to do the first one and just ink it up. And I'm going to do these at the same time and cross my fingers and hope it works, because it's a little bit easier to do it all at the same time. Move my other cards off to the side so I don't get ink on them by accident. I just re-inked this Evening Evergreen. Hopefully it's not too juicy. Well, goodbye somebody. You have to jump into another meeting. Have fun, whatever you're doing. Now, just going to look at mine, see if I actually got that. I think that's an okay position. It doesn't have to be exact, right? Okay, so I got my first 2. Now, the thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate it. So now it's centered, the same size square, but oriented, you know, what is that, 90 degrees? Is that 90 degrees? I think so. Ink it up. Grab my Evening Evergreen. The Evening Evergreen is very dark, you guys can see. Okay, you guys get the idea. Now, the nice thing is, of course, I've got the 2 images on here, so I'm getting to do them at the same time. I think when I did this the first time, I just went around twice. But I'm doing them both at the same time. So each time I'm just turning it once. Now I think I just turned it the wrong way, didn't I? I did. I want to make sure I'm stamping on a new spot, of course. And this is the really nice thing about having multiples of these, whatever these are called, these things, is that you can put different images on each one. So it takes a little bit of time to do this, but it gives you that regular shape. And it is a little bit more towards the center. Notice I'm doing the inking, but I haven't turned my paper yet, so make sure to turn my paper. So basically doing each one 8 times. Got one more to go. And there we go. And there is my lovely wreath. If I wanted to, I could do another image, take another image, say this one here, go, okay, well, I want something else. I'm not going to do that, but I was thinking I could do this one right here, and then what I would do is turn this over. So now I have a blank side over here, and then just lift it up. Now I was also thinking that if I did do another image here, that I would just ink up this part of it, not the stem, because I'm thinking the stem's going to kind of get in the way of other stuff. But that's another option. You can also turn this one around and use the back side of this one as well. So you can make your wreath as complicated or as simple as you want. So this one is just a little bit smaller, and I like it. Do you guys like it? let's compare it to the other one. So there's the other one. Just a little bit smaller. You can see how I just shifted it the tiniest little bit to make it smaller, so it would fit on a smaller piece of cardstock. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and move this aside and show you just a little bit about how to put this card together, because I did actually, I'm pretty close to getting it put together and thought you guys might want to chime in and tell me what you think. So for this one, I have a soft seafoam card base again. I'm just liking the soft seafoam. And I've got my wreath. Where are my other pieces? Oh, there we go. This is a pretty simple one. So I wanted to put a little bow here, and I played around with doing the bow in a couple different ways. First of all, I tried using this cherry cobbler and gold ribbon and did a little bow, and it just kind of felt big. I mean, it actually looks really pretty there, but that was one of the things I played with. And then I played with this sentiment, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," and I did one sentiment piece with the whole sentiment, a little touch of cherry cobbler, because I wanted to pull out the red, the sort of deep red that's in those embellishments, and put that on the bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to, you guys can tell me what you think. Oh, I'm glad you like that, Jolene. So there's that one. The wreath is so soft that I kind of felt like that bow was just a little bit too much. So here's a fun little trick to play with. You can take your ribbon, this thick ribbon, right, and cut it down the middle, so just create it half as thick. And then I did the same thing with my evening evergreen ribbon, this open weave ribbon. And then I just layered my pieces on top of one another, did my little dog ears, and created a bow. And here's the bow that I finished. So it's just a little bit more delicate and softer. It's got the green in it and the cherry cobbler, which I thought was a really nice alternative. And so that is the bow that I kind of decided worked the best. And there's two different sizes of the red rhinestones. They actually are very interesting rhinestones. They sort of have some green in them and some red in them. They're just an interesting mix. So anyway, I just thought that this combination would be perfect with it. So I've alternated the big ones and the small ones all around the wreath, leaving this spot open so I could put my little bow down there. And I've got this sentiment, and then I also took this image and just inked up the Merry Christmas. I wanted it to be a little bit more demure and tried this as an option. So you guys tell me what you think. Smaller or bigger? Now I also want to point out that on the ribbon, you can, there's little filaments in the ribbon. Actually, one of them just fell out. But you can pull out the filaments if you want to see them more. So see that one I just am pulling it out right there. And it just gives it a fun additional element. You can see that one of them came out before I tied the bow. So you got that nice little element of the gold. You like the larger one. You know, as I put them out there, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I wasn't sure of that when I was playing with this earlier, but seeing it after a few minutes, I just love having time, the benefit of time. Step away from it and give it another look, and your eyes see it somehow differently. So yeah, I think that's what I like as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put this together. I think all we need is some glue dots. Glue dots for the ribbon. Put that at the bottom of the wreath. And I'm going to go ahead and just use glue dots on this too. So you can see the back there, I just layered some strips of evening evergreen cardstock and cherry cobbler cardstock. And you can see I stamped it on the back. I always, need more than one time to get it straight. I don't know if that's true for you guys, but sometimes it's just hard to get those stamps straight on. think that's about where I need it. And then I think I want this on dimensionals. Let's try it out and see what we think. Yeah, I think so. Or maybe not. I usually love my dimensionals. Try it again. I always do that. Look and then look again. I think I want it to be flat. Just going to do no dimensionals this time, and I'm just going to put a glue dot in the corner, all 4 corners of this piece, and call it done. I have my notes on the back. Got to take that off before I attach it. Let's see. Okay, so I know lots of you out there are demonstrators, and wondering if anybody is participating in the Stampin' Up! On Stage at Home event, which is tonight. It's the reason why I went on an hour early. Oh, you especially love the Wreath card, Dawn. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. I love when people tell me what they like, their favorites. Yeah, there we go. So there's my finished Wreath card. Now this could be, of course, you could do a wreath for the fall, for other seasons, for springtime, if you bring in some different colors and don't use the red. So many possibilities with the whole wreath idea and the Stamparatus. And it's so easy, right? Not complicated, as long as you know the method. And now you can even recreate something that you've created before with hopefully my new trick. Maybe you already knew it, but that's okay. All right, so there are my finished cards. So a quick reminder. Let's see, how do you keep the white base from moving when you're stamping? Maybe I missed this. Good question. So you're talking about the base itself? Because the base itself has like little rubber feet at the bottom. So the base will stay put. Or are you talking about the white paper underneath, this white paper? Well, I have the magnet here. So do you see that? This is a very strong magnet. And if you didn't notice, let's just move those aside. I have some washi tape attached to it, and it serves as like a handle. Sometimes this is such a strong magnet that it'll hold down and it's hard to even get it up. But this is just a nice little trick for putting onto your magnets. Just don't put 2 of them close to each other. So you say the white paper. Well, you see the white paper does move, but it didn't even think about moving because this magnet was here. So that's really the trick. You get 2 of these magnets when you buy a Stamparatus. Just again, don't get them close to one another because they have the tendency to smack into one another because they're so strong and then they break. I have actually had that happen to me. Yeah, so you can see it might move up here, but it's not going to move. It's not going to move off the paper, off the base. I also have this, I guess, this little foam mat here. I think that's the one that comes with it. There's a deluxe one that's thicker. That I also really love, but I don't have it right here to show you. All right, I hope that answered that question. Okay, so let's finish up. So, don't know if, let's see, I saw any answers to my questions. So tonight is the kickoff of the Stampin' Up! On Stage at Home event. And it starts at 7:30, which is why I went on early. I mentioned that just a little bit ago. And I will be attending with 7 of my team members, so excited to be sharing the experience. It's basically a convention, and of course it's online. It was online last year, but usually it's in person, and it's just a blast. We're going to see lots of creative ideas. We get to see the new January to June mini catalog and probably celebration stuff as well. We'll get to see the brochure, celebration brochure that's going live in January, as well as the mini. See the new products being used. It's going to be so much fun for those of us that are doing it. So anyway, things to look forward to. Stampin' Up! Does all kinds of fun things for us. So anyway, yeah, that's at 7:30. Super excited. It's going to be all day tomorrow, all day Saturday, and then there's a bunch of recognition and fun activities tonight. So yeah, super excited. Comment if you're going as well, if you're a demonstrator. I know some of my team members are on here. You guys, I know who are going, but you can comment and say yay too if you want. Kimmy, I'm so glad you love both cards. I will be taking photographs of these projects, putting them into a blog post and on my website. That will go live on Saturday. I'll be working on that intermittently during the weekend between the event. And let's see what else I need to say. Oh yeah, so usually I'm doing Facebook Lives every other week, but I am going to go live next week, the 18th, November 18th, at 7 p.m., the usual time. And I'm doing that because the week after that is Thanksgiving, so I can't go live that week. I'll be traveling, and of course it's Thursday, so Thanksgiving Day, right? Not going to be going live on that day. So I'm going to do 2 consecutive weeks, this week and next week, and hopefully you chimed in and let me know whether you are especially wanting, okay, hashtag welcoming woods or hashtag sweet stockings. I'll tally the interest and we'll go from there. There's a possibility that I might do the alternate one, a couple weeks later, we'll see. But depends on the timing and such. But thanks for chiming in. Thanks for being here and joining me. Please share this video, whether you're live or on the replay. I so appreciate that when you do it. Yeah, I'll see you next week. Hope you have a great week. So yeah, don't forget, Eden's Garden Stamp Camp to go. Deadline is tomorrow, so definitely sign up. That was in my newsletter, or go to my website under the classes tab. You'll see it there. You're welcome, Laura Lee. Good to see you here. Missed you previously. Let's see what else. And stay tuned for that seasonal sale. Details coming next week. All right, guys. Have a wonderful week. And if you're out there, Karen Kush, make sure to message me your mailing address so I can send you the goodies you won. So, all right. Bye, everybody. Mwah. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.